And my presentation today is on teaching English language arts to middle school students. So I realized after I had signed up for my topic that I had to kind of narrow it down a little bit. That's quite a lot to talk about, I suppose, if you're going to talk about teaching all of English language arts. So I did, and I narrowed it down to a couple of great teaching strategies or a couple of great lessons that hopefully most of you will be able to take advantage of, even if you're not English teachers. And I apologize that to all you other content area teachers that I'm just focusing on English, but as you'll see, you can these activities will apply to a lot of different content areas. So get them up and moving around. Now, this is a quote from a veteran middle school ELA, English Language Arts teacher. So here we go. We'll start with the presentation. All right. So unlike some other subjects where students actually get a chance to move around, a lot of the time English class is spent reading and writing, which it's kind of tough to read and write when you're moving around, but I kind of wanted to figure out what we could do to facilitate active learning or kinesthetic learners. So I'm taking us way back to Dr. Austin's education psychology class here. And he had, in his book for the class, he had mentioned a few gems of teaching knowledge. So he suggested that learners need to do something. And I don't think it was just him, it was research that suggests this. So the active learning, or aka fun classes that students talk about, or they say that they like the most, are art, PE, industrial arts, and music. So unfortunately for us, the unactive or sometimes not so fun classes might be, English, math, and science. You do get to move around a little bit, but English and math, it's kind of tough to get kids moving. So students want to be active in their learning rather than passive recipients of a teacher's information. We've all kind of learned this as far as a teacher-centered classroom, which is historically what it's been, to we're moving to a more student-centered approach these days. So kinesthetic learning is one of the three basic learning styles, which I'm sure we've all heard about as well. There are auditory learners. They like to remember by talking out loud, and they like to have things explained orally. There are visual learners, and they remember visual details and prefer to write down instructions. So these first two types of learners are actually quite well suited to English class, because there is a lot of information communicated verbally, and we do a lot of writing typically in English. So those two, but then there's the kinesthetic learners, or they're also called tactile learners, and they prefer activities that allow them to do what they're learning about. So you can kind of tell that a lot of the time in English class you don't get to do what you're learning. So here we are. The two activities we'll discuss today, or I'll tell you about today, are the dramatic tableau and the Kick Me vocabulary game. So the dramatic tableau is it's a stage picture made by actors playing characters who freeze in positions. So the actors in this case are going to be your students, obviously. And what they do is they assume roles, and then they position themselves to create a silent, frozen picture. So what they do is they assume roles of different characters in a novel that we're reading, and they essentially create a living photo, sculpture, or painting. After having worked with the text and becoming familiar with significant events and passages, students work in groups to recreate important scenes from the text. And what will happen, as you can see in some of these photos of students doing dramatic tableaus, is their facial expressions and body postures their arm and hand positions, and how they're situated in relation to one another all tell the story of the scene that they're depicting. And we're told that good readers are able to envision the action and events described in a text. And so this type of activity definitely helps students do those things, envision the action and events. So the tableau, and another thing that it does is it integrates art and drama classes into English class. So there's a little bit of cross-content learning going on there. But so tableaus help students practice using and controlling their bodies. They practice maintaining concentration, and it also fosters cooperation as they work together and support one another. Students connect to the characters, to the action, and the context in which the text was written, and they develop, in the end, a deeper understanding of the text, which is kind of what we're after. And so we touch on all 6 of the reading comprehension strategies by recreating or doing these dramatic tableaus. We develop sensory images. Students must visualize the overall scene and the individual characters. They build and activate schema. So to choose poses and expressions, students have to activate their background knowledge about people and circumstances. They question. In order to solve the problem of how to create the tableau, students must ask and answer questions about the text. They determine importance. Students sort out important information in the text and use it to create a meaningful frozen picture. They infer. When planning the tableau, students make inferences about characters, emotions, and circumstances. Their inferences inform their choices about individual poses and the overall look of the tableau. And in the end, they synthesize. The synthesis requires students to create something new based on information in the text. A tableau is a synthesis of the text that captures and communicates the meaning of written words. So they're touching on all these reading comprehension strategies in this one activity, this one kinesthetic learning activity. And so the second thing we're going to talk about, or the second activity,
is what?
Is this Kick Me. It's called the Kick Me vocabulary activity. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention is that with the dramatic tableaus, they don't only work for English classes and English texts, but they also work for, they'd be great for history class. I mean, you can just imagine students recreating important scenes out of history. Dr. Stone actually pointed out that they could work in math class as well. You could recreate, the death of Archimedes, is what she explained to me, and it's quite a story, actually, how he died. But the students would have fun recreating it. We'll put it that way. So, anyways, now here we are. Hey, Bob, nice job on that Prezi earlier. We're all familiar with this. Hey, you stick a kick me sign on your friend's back, and watch the fun ensue. But anyways, we're going to learn a little bit about the kick me activity. So here's a really good video of a teacher incorporating this activity, and so it's pretty self-explanatory here. So let's see if we can get it to play.
Hi, I'm Jody McCauley. I teach 7th grade writing at Wilmette Junior High School in Wilmette, Illinois. Hi. This lesson is called Kick Me. No admin today. We're just going to start right with the activity. The Kick Me method is based on the prank of putting a note on someone's back that says Kick Me. That's the inspiration. I use Kick Me for analogies by taking out one word of the analogies and putting it on the students' backs. They had to take a minute to analyze the relationship and then find the missing word on their classmates' backs. Because there's a limited amount of answers, they had to find the right answer or the best answer, just like in a standardized testing situation. Giving them a time limit is also really important, because if you would leave it open-ended until everyone finishes, it just ends up, some kids are done early, some kids are just goofing around, but if you give them 10 minutes or 15 minutes and they know the timer is ticking, they'll move much more efficiently. and get the answers. I think we should all read the first rule of Kick Me together.
Important rule.
Absolutely no kicking.
No kicking.
Okay, get up and find the answers.
That's very important
I'll
rule.
set the timer.
Scrape. What is scrape? You have scrape. I know. I said what is scrape. Floss is a scrape? No, I was thinking that.
This lesson just has to do with word choice, which is something we're studying all year long, and making connections between words to help you remember word choice. And so looking at analogies has the kids thinking at a higher level. They have to analyze the relationship before they can come up with the answer.
Yeah. So this would be, mom would be more like nervous. Something like that. Yeah.
You're at the 5-minute mark. You should be halfway done. Kick Me can be used for anything. It's a great pre-teaching lesson when the kids don't really know the answers, so that they really have to look for the answers. It can also work as a review activity so that they already know the answers, but they have to